Hi,
Yay!
everybody.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Very good. How are you? That was a beautiful intro.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. I wanted to get everybody in the right mindset to take in everything that you have to share. Thank you so much for being here, Alex.
Thank you so much for having me. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk all things branding and content with you.
Yes, if there is one person I want to learn from branding on, it's you. I was sharing with them that I remember stumbling upon your Instagram page actually from the Instagram like search for you page. And I stumbled upon your content maybe 3 years ago. And I've just been following your journey to a full-time creator, your move from London to LA, and just like your evolution and metamorphosis as a creator. So it's really cool and very full circle to have you here with us today.
No pun intended.
I know. I had to throw that in there. Amazing. Well, I want to give you the stage and give you every little minute of our time. So if you want to share your screen, I'll wait here with you and then I'll go off camera.
Do that. Can everyone see obsession-worthy brand slide?
Yes, that's gorgeous.
Yes, wonderful. Perfect. Well, I would say let's just get started. We have a lot to cover. Hi, everyone. Thank you again so much for being here. We are going to be talking about building hype, building your own standout personal brand, and also turning it into a loyal community over the next 30 minutes. So I'm really excited to get started. We have three main things we're going to learn in this session. First, we are going to go over how to define a brand message that attracts the right people, because clarity really is the key. Then we are going to be talking about the difference between attraction content, the kind of content that brings new people to your page, and then the kind of content that turns those people into super fans. And we are also going to be talking about thing that has been really, really big for me in my business, and that's nurturing your audience beyond social media. So how do you take the hype you have built online, and then how do you actually turn your community into a real community where people are communicating, where you can provide even more value? I have seen all of your beautiful answers on what do you love about being creator, and a lot of you said providing value to people and sharing your message. So we are going to be doing just that, and hopefully I will help you amplify your impact. Before we get started, I'd love to know from you, where is everyone currently at? So if you wouldn't mind just dropping a number 1, 2, or 3 into the chat. If you are coming in as one and maybe you are holding back from showing up online and need a little bit more clarity and a good plan, you sit down, sometimes you stare at a blank screen and then you shut it down and you kind of just keep showing up, but then you pull back. Or maybe you are coming in as a number 2 and you are posting content, you are showing up, but you know that you have only just scratched the surface on what's possible and you know you can go so much bigger. Or maybe you're coming in as a number 3, and I know a lot of you are creators and you are rocking it, but always want to learn more strategies and try new things. So let me know where everyone is at. A lot of 2s, love that. A lot of 1s as well. Perfect. This is so helpful. Thank you so much. Keep it going. A lot of 3s as well. Amazing. Wonderful. All right. Just a quick intro before we get started. Thank you, Alexis, for the wonderful intro already. I am Alex. Hi, I am the founder of Girls Club. We are a media and education company where we empower female creators and entrepreneurs and help them build their personal brands and also grow and scale their businesses. We have built a community of over 130,000 ambitious women, which is absolutely mind-blowing to see that number. And as Alex said, I used to live in London for 15 years. I have just recently moved to LA. I'm a Virgo. I like things organized, and I also have the cutest corgi, Tilly. So she is repping for the Brits in the US. So first things first, we are going to be talking about how to define a brand message that attracts the right people. So how do you really take all of the amazing things you do and you put it in such a succinct message that when someone lands on your page, be it Instagram, be it TikTok, be it LinkedIn, they understand immediately what they are gaining from following you. And here's a quick question for you, and feel free to drop it in the chat as well. I would love to hear your answers. If someone mentioned your name, what would you want them to associate with you? What is the thing you want people to immediately think of when they think of you or when they hear your name? Oh, hi, Cheryl. Fellow Londoner in LA. Love that. Amazing. So yeah, keep typing in the chat. What is the thing you want people to associate with you? And that's going to help us so much as we are going through this exercise. And while you are typing, I'm just quickly going to talk you through the 3 C's of a strong personal brand. I love to keep coming back to this framework, and anytime I am working on evolution of my personal brand, or if I'm working with clients, these are always the things we are going to come back to. So first C is clarity. People need to instantly understand who you are, what you do, and why it matters. And the more specific you are going to be, the easier it is for people to remember you. Since we are all here entrepreneurs, we probably know that confused buyer doesn't really buy. And this is so true in content as well, right? Like if someone lands on your page and they can't immediately understand what is the value they are getting from your page and what is it going to help them do, they might hesitate to click that follow button. But when they land on your page, they're like, oh, okay, this person is going to help me with this. That's such an easy yes. Then the second one, we have consistency. And I know that there are so many tips and tricks online on should you be posting 7 times a week, 14 times a week, 3 times a week, should you post on Mondays, Sundays? I honestly don't think it matters. What I mean by consistency is the personal brands repeat their core message over and over and over again. I always like to think of Mel Robbins, for example. I think she's an amazing example of consistency, where she took 2 very, very simple ideas and she made them her brand. And she is known worldwide for the let them theory and for the 5-second rule, just because she was so consistent with the message. She was repeating it for years and years and years. And I don't think you need to be everywhere 7 days a week. We all know that a creative burnout is real. However, what I think you need to do, the value you bring needs to be consistent. People kind of need to get their expectations met. So when they follow you for something, you might want to keep delivering on those expectations and sometimes maybe even over deliver. And then the last C is connection. I think gone are the days when you could just post a couple of tips online and people would eat it up. People are looking for connection. People are following people they can either relate to or they can look up to. So your personal brand should really, on top of everything we are doing in terms of education and sharing your amazing knowledge, should also share your journey, your stories, your struggles, your wins, and your lessons to make your brand human, because people connect with people. And sometimes, don't know about you, I definitely tend to go the safer route where I just share tips and I share knowledge because it feels a little less vulnerable. But when I share my story, that's what really connects with people. So these are the 3 C's of strong personal brand: clarity, consistency, and connection. And I like to think of personal brand as 2 layers. So first we have expertise, and this is the serious, fact-driven part of your personal brand. When you imagine it as 2 employees, this is your data scientist, your tech developer who just comes, gets work done, delivers always, everything is always super precise. So your expertise really encompasses what problems you solve, what unique methods, processes, approaches do you bring to the table, what is the transformation you help people achieve, what are the tangible things you are bringing to the table, and also that is the answer to the question, why would someone find you in the first place? Because they are looking for the kind of content you are producing. And why would they follow you, right? What are they learning from consuming your content? And then we have personality, and this is your personality hire. This is someone in the social media department or someone in the HR who is there to make you feel really, really good and was meant to make work a little bit more fun. So the personality layer of your brand really encompasses how do you make people feel when they experience your brand? Because let's be honest, there are going to be people out there who are sharing a very similar knowledge than you are, but there will be a certain group of people who resonate with your message and who resonate with the way you deliver things. What is the feeling you really want to evoke in someone when they are consuming your content? Also, what is your brand signature style? And this can go as far as aesthetics and fonts and colors you want to use or clothes you want to wear in your content, to your tone of voice, to maybe just the way you are relaying information, right? Are you the kind of content creator who is like really going deep, really talking to someone who's already interested in a topic? Or are you the kind of person who is breaking down maybe quite difficult topics to understand into like a easy speak, and maybe someone who is just starting can understand them? So really think about what is your brand signature style. And then the last thing I like to think about is, what are some of the unique traits or habits that make you memorable? What are the things that make you want to make a part of your brand? And you absolutely don't have to share everything. I feel like there's sometimes a bit of a pushback from creators when we are talking about personal brand, when they're just like, oh, but I don't want to be online 24/7. I don't want to be sharing everything about my life. You absolutely don't have to. I keep 85% of my life completely separate from what people are seeing on social media. But what are some of the little things you can be sharing that will make people recognize your brand when you are repeating them over and over again? For example, I love black coffee. I share black coffee on my stories all the time. I feel like now people are starting to associate me with it. Or I love going to Pilates, so that's a habit. Or I just like to give like maybe some tough love pep talks on my stories sometimes. So those are the kind of things that make sense with my personal brand, and then I can keep a little bit separate as well. And your personality is really the answer to why will people stick around and remember you, and why they will start creating connections with you. So when you think about your personal brand, I almost like to split it into two. Then I have all of the data, facts, things I want to teach, transformations, frameworks. Then I also have all of the soft skills in terms of personality, what makes me me, what are some of the parts of the lifestyle I want to introduce into my personal brand. And when we are talking about personal brand, it is so important to be able to make it very clear what do you do, and make people immediately understand what they will gain by following you. So I want to go through a really quick exercise with you, and feel free to share this in the chat as well. I like to always challenge creators I work with, and also challenge myself, because sometimes, even if I've been doing this for quite a while now, sometimes things can get quite fuzzy, and I like to go back to basics. So I like to go through this framework to really clarify my brand message and put succinctly, what do I actually do? So I follow this framework. I help who? So who is my ideal audience? In my case, it's going to be female entrepreneurs and creators. Go from struggling with content, struggling with maybe posting, but not really standing out, not really knowing how to monetize their knowledge, to having personal brands that are recognizable, businesses that are thriving, communities that really see them as leaders by using, and here goes your method. So for us, we teach people personal branding, and we teach them the power of creating community online and then having funnels into their paid products, right? So I always like to use this. So anytime you feel maybe a little bit fuzzy, anytime someone asks you what you do and it takes you 4, 5, 6 sentences to describe it, this is always a really great framework to go back to say what you do, who you help, make the transformation really, really clear. And then also inserting your method will help you stand out from the sea of people who might be doing similar things. You absolutely don't have to put this in a bio. Your bio can be a lot more creative than this, but I like to have this sentence always in my back pocket when someone asks me what I do and how I would characterize Girls Club. So hopefully having this is quite helpful. And the last thing we can talk about is the memorable detail. I love using this in personal branding, and we touched on it a little bit before, but I want everyone to kind of think about what are the smaller specific things you want people to associate with you. the best creators online always have something that makes them them. Maybe it's the setup where they are filming videos. Maybe it's a phrase they start every video with. Maybe it's a story you remember about them. Maybe it's the way they do their hair, or maybe it's their dog and they really make it a part of their personal brand. But I really want to encourage you to start thinking, and you absolutely don't have to force this. We don't have to come up with it on this session. This may take quite a lot of trial and errors, and this might just take a lot of experience with your personal brand and posting a lot of content until it finally comes to you. But I want you to think about what could be the memorable detail for you. Could it be a signature phrase you always use? Nothing changes if nothing changes. What other we always use? Let's get you paid for who you are. What are some of the things you could be saying in your content? Maybe it's a ritual people associate with you and they start looking forward to. Maybe you do a weekly hot takes post. For Girls Club, for example, every Monday we start the week with sharing content ideas for the week, and people follow us because they know that every Monday they get a fresh dose of content ideas they could be posting. Or maybe it's a personal story you repeat often, but repeating this memorable detail over and over and over again will make your brand recognizable, because people will start associating it with you and they will start looking forward to those things. And our brains love things that are predictable and that feel familiar. And that's exactly how you are going to create a brand that stands out. You don't need anything lavish. You don't need to do a new photo shoot. You just really have to be consistent with your memorable detail. And we are moving on to second part of our presentation, and that is the difference between attraction content and community building content. And when I learned this strategy and when I started to apply to all of my content, whether it's my personal content, whether it's content we do for Girls Club, whether it's content I do with my clients, that's where everything clicked and everything became so much easier. And I actually started to see so many results. Not just with me, but people I have worked with. And I think this makes content creation and thinking about content strategy 10 times easier. So I'm really excited to introduce you to this framework. So the way I like to think about content strategy is almost like a funnel. So with content, I think it has three main jobs, right? First is to get you in front of the right people, and ideally constantly get you in front of new people who might like the way you do things and who might benefit from your work. Like, we always have to have that top of the funnel working for us, so we are either not always speaking to the same people or we are not speaking to the void. So that's the job of our visibility content, which is just right here. So it's just bringing new people into your world. Then we have our nurture content, and this is the kind of content you are not posting necessarily to attract new people into your world. This is how you create relationships with your existing community. So when someone came to your world, maybe they have found you for a post that has gone like kind of viral, and now they're like, okay, well, this person looks cool. I love what they're doing. Nurture content is what's going to turn them into a super fan and is really going to create connection. I'll be sharing a lot of examples in a second. And now we have a community. Now we have a bit of a challenge on how do we get someone from a follower to being our customer. And that's where conversion content comes in. And the purpose of conversion content is to really just get someone to take an action and consider your product, right? So now we have a bit of a tidy funnel. Now it all starting to make sense when not every piece of content has to do everything. And I feel like a lot of us tried, and I have definitely had periods of my content creator journey when I was like, why is nothing working? Like, I don't seem to be gaining new followers. I don't seem to be getting a ton of engagement. I definitely don't seem to be selling my product. And when I stopped trying to make every piece of content do everything for me, that's when things kind of clicked and it became so much easier. I always had so much content on the go. I never had to wonder what to post next. So I want to go a little bit more in depth into visibility content and nurture content, so we can really see what is the difference between getting new people into your world and what kind of content is going to do that for you. And then what does nurture content look like? How do you really create connection and relationships with your community? How do you really provide value to them? So here is just a quick slide with the different parts of what you could be using as attraction content and what you could be using as a nurture content. So for your attraction content, this is going to be a lot of content that has a strong hook and that really stops the scroll. It's quite snappy, it's quite quick. Really the purpose here is to get someone to stop in their tracks and be like, oh, okay, now I'm interested, I'm intrigued. Also, a great content for attraction is shareable tips and hacks that people find so smart, they reshare it to their stories, then it spreads like a wildfire. Common mistakes, myths, and correcting them, again, great way to kind of provide a lot of value, but maybe on like a bit more of a surface level, easy to consume level. So we are not going too niche, we are not getting too deep, we are not excluding anyone. Quick wins is a great type of content when you give people very easy actionable step, or you give them clarity on something they might be struggling with. Trending audios, reels with trending audios also fall into this category. When you see any trends you might be able to adapt to your niche, that would be attraction content. And then also savable carousels. We have grown our audience massively by creating savable carousels, either with ChatGPT hacks, content ideas, frameworks like these, something that feels very consumable and people save it to come back to it later. So that would be attraction content. Then nurture content we are creating for our existing audience. So we already know that they do care about what we do. They maybe have a certain knowledge in our space, so we can get a little bit deeper. In nurturing, I love to storytell, and not necessarily just telling my origin story, and not every reel has to be like, okay, this is where I started, this is where I am now. You can absolutely say the story a lot, but it could even be storytelling about lessons you have learned recently, experiences you have had. Maybe it's not the kind of content that is going to go viral, but it's the kind of content that really resonates with the right person. This could also be deep dives and how-tos. So while in attraction content, we are kind of hovering above the surface level and we are not going too deep, in nurture content, we can already assume that people really, really care about what we have to say. And we can really geek out on our zone of genius. We can go much deeper. We can take one topic and really break it down. We know that we are speaking to someone who really, really cares. I also love to share behind the scenes. People are quite nosy, and I think sharing behind the scenes content is a great way to connect with your audience on more of a human to human level. So showing them the day in your life, or maybe you are going on a really fun trip, or maybe you just want to show people how much work it goes into creating your product, or whatever it might be, right? But behind the scenes, really humanize your brand. Also, if you have a team, I think it's a great way to create connection with the brand rather than just constantly sharing about your product. This could also look like client results and frameworks. So now we are really starting to introduce people into what do we do? What is the transformation we can provide for people? What is it that we do differently? What are the frameworks we are following? So really repeating our message over and over again with like, okay, this is my way to get you to the results you want, and this is why I think it works. Really getting people introduced to the framework. And also personal point of views and processes. So what are your opinions? What is your expertise? What are the experiences you have had that you can talk about that are really relevant to your audience? Also, what are the processes you are doing, right? So I love to take people behind the scenes. I sometimes just record a video of myself, like how do I plan content for the week? Or for example, we have a photo shoot next week, so I'm going to be creating a content of, hey, this is how I prepare myself for a photo shoot. Like, this is what I do. I go on Pinterest, I do this in Canva. So really taking the audience, they feel like they are part of the story and they are building with us as we go as well. So that's the main difference between attraction and nurture content. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Is that clearer for you? Now when we think about it, okay, well, this is to attract new people, and then this is to actually nurture my existing audience. And I just want to show you some examples of visibility content we have done for Girls Club. And I also want to show you the differences in the analytics. So this piece of content was literally just Elle Woods, and on the top of it, it says, this is who I become when someone says I can't do it. I knew this is going to resonate with my audience because my audience, A, loves Elle Woods. They recognize her. They really see her as a role model. But also they are really stubborn. When someone says they can't do something, they are going to go for it. And people really resonated with it, right? It was reshared almost 5,000 times, which is insane. And it gave us so much visibility on our brand. And this is like the easiest piece of content I can create. But I knew it's going to resonate with our ideal audience and they will see themselves in it. Or then another example, which is maybe slightly more educational, we shared a ChatGPT hack. And again, like the hook is very hooky, I would say, right? Like ChatGPT hack that should be illegal really stops you in your track. And then we just talked about the ChatGPT hack we really liked. But again, like this brought a lot of traffic into our page. Is this going to turn someone into a super fan of the brand? Probably not. Is it going to create emotional connection with me as a founder? Probably not. But it brought a lot of new people in, and then we can move on to nurturing them. So here are some examples of nurturing content we are doing, and you can see the difference in the analytics, right? So while the previous ones had like thousands of likes, thousands of reshares, here we are not doing so well in terms of the metrics, but these are the things that our audience really, really geeks out on. So these 330 likes, I can guarantee you came from people who really care about personal branding. So here is one example where we dug really, really deep into a framework. So here we just talked about framework on how to tell stories in your personal brand. Again, like not super general public friendly, right? Like unless you really are deep into content and unless you want to get better into storytelling, not very relevant to you. If you do want to get better at telling stories, you will love this kind of content and you will start seeing our company as like the go-to place for learning how to create better content. Or here is another example that is a little bit more founder-led, where I speak about my story and how I kind of got to where I am today. Like what were the different things that have led me to move into London, move into LA, but then also starting Girls Club, and why is it so important for me to empower female entrepreneurs to build bigger businesses and have bigger voices and really be seen. So again, in terms of performance, not amazing, but people care, really, really care, and now they feel a lot more connected to me. And I've actually had a lot of people coming into my DMs and saying they can really resonate. So that's the difference between nurture and visibility content. Both of them have a lot of space in your content strategy. If you are just starting, I would say focus on the visibility content and then sprinkle in nurture content. If you already have an audience and you feel like the audience isn't like doing much for you, maybe they are not engaging, maybe they are not buying, you might want to turn up the heat on nurture content. And conversion content, we don't really do a ton on social media. I like to keep our feed very value upfront, not a lot of selling. However, what we do, I'm going to show you in the last part of this presentation, how we take our community, how do we nurture them off Instagram, off TikTok, off LinkedIn, and then how do we really turn them into a real community, into super fans, and that's where we are doing a lot about converting as well. So let's dive right into it, shall we? Let me just check the chat really quickly. I will answer, I can see there's a lot of questions, so I will answer them at the end of this session. Thank you so much, and keep the questions coming if you have anything you would like me to clarify or anything you would like to ask. I would love to help. But for now, let's talk about nurturing your audience beyond social media. Social media is an amazing tool to get seen and to really get your brand in front of the right people. But people's attention spans not amazing, right? Like we see so much content every single day. I don't know if anyone feels like I do, but every time I open Instagram or open TikTok, I just feel like I'm drinking from fire hose, and I get really fatigued really quickly. And if you would ask me if I remember post I have seen 2 minutes before I started, I would be like, absolutely not. Like I have no idea. Like it's very hard for me to pay attention. And nurturing our audiences beyond social media has been a huge part of the success of Girls Club and how we were able to build such a strong community, but then how we were also able to monetize our business as well. And this is our major revenue driver. So I just wanted to quickly show you our customer journey. So how it looks like to get someone from not knowing what Girls Club is to then kind of working with us. So it starts with short form content. Our short form content is this constant machine running in the background. We are constantly churning out content to attract new people. What happens next is our main goal with our short form content is to get people into one of these nurture spots. So either we have a free resource, so we do a lot of workbooks, we do a lot of guides, we do a lot of just like swipe files that people love to download, or we redirect them into long form content. We have a YouTube channel, we have a newsletter that we send out weekly, or we then run community events. So I run a workshop or a challenge like once or twice a month, and we have been doing so for the last couple of years, and that has been really helpful. That's how I also came across Circle, because it's definitely the best platform to be hosting your community events, whether it's unpaid or paid. And trust me, I have tried it all. I have done all of the softwares. But once our audience has been nurtured by us, and once we have provided a ton of value, that's where we are pitching our paid product. So each of these always has a clear call to action to our paid products, and it depends on what we are promoting at a time. But I found skipping this part of the customer journey didn't work very well for us. When we would just post the reels and then ask people to buy our product, there was always a piece missing. And introducing this part of our customer journey has changed everything for us. And the reason why it matters is I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but social algorithms are unpredictable. You never know, are people going to see your content? Are people going to engage with your content? Is your content going to flop? What is the algorithm doing, right? Like we never really know, and we can never really predict, is my content going to reach this amount of people? Also, you don't own your following. We have had a bit of a scare with TikTok, right? But I think it only just showed us, okay, well, these platforms, they don't really belong to us. And while we have worked so hard to build our audiences, they could be taken away from us at any point. So that's why I love to build my own community and my own email list, because at least I always have access to these people. Also, it builds a real connection and trust. I can post millions reels a week, but nothing will replace me sitting down for an hour and talking to someone, or me hosting a little challenge, or me just having a little office hours and actually having conversation with people. Nothing will ever, no volume of content will ever replace that. And also it will help you stand out from all the noise on socials and build relationships with your audience, because not a lot of people do this. And I think it's so special when you are providing to your community on a very different level, and you can put so much more value, and you can help people go and see these little micro transformations a lot more from a 30-minute workshop, or maybe from having a Q&A session with your community, than any carousel or any LinkedIn post ever would. So that's why it matters. And I just wanted to leave you with some ideas for socials engagement. So I love to build challenges. We do like a 3-day challenge once a month that has been a huge business driver for us. And in those 3 days, we give people tasks, we give them a ton of value. Then we usually end up with a workshop as well, so we get to see our community face to face. But challenges can really build momentum and also give people results. And when they see what they can achieve with you in such a short amount of time, then they are a lot more likely to invest into your product. That kind of builds up on what you have already done in the challenge. Same with workshops like these, teaching people in real time, really great way to connect with your community and get your message across and have people pay attention, not being distracted by a million other creators and notifications and whatnot. Also hosting free communities, so moving your community from your social media into something that's a little bit more intimate, where you can provide value, where you can check in with them. Let me know in the chat, however, how many of you have a free community as a creators? Who is like building this community and how is it working for you? I would love to know. We have a free community. We also have a paid community. So you can always differentiate these, right? Like you can different access levels too. It doesn't mean that if you have a free community, you can't have paid community and vice versa. And then also my favorite way to engage our audience of socials is email newsletter. I'm much better writer than I'm a speaker, so I love writing our newsletters weekly and providing value this way. But this could look like a podcast if you're more of a speaker than a writer. This could look like having a YouTube channel and really deep diving into topics you can't maybe do on Instagram or TikTok because there just isn't enough time to provide so much information, right? So challenges, workshops, free communities, email newsletters. If you have any other ideas, drop them in the chat. I would love to know. But these are the 4 we have been doing at Girls Club, and they are all working for us wonderfully. And then I just want to wrap up with what makes a good event, because we have all sat through workshops and challenges and maybe free communities, and we were like, oh, okay, this is kind of not giving what I thought it was going to be giving. Or maybe you have done workshops and you have done challenges and maybe they haven't brought you as much conversion as you were hoping for. So here are the 4 things I always like to think about when I'm hosting one of these events. I'm just going to call it event. It's always directly tied to the pain point your paid offer solves. So there is no point of me running a workshop about personal development and then at the end of the workshop or at the end of the challenge trying to pitch my personal branding course or pitch like a business accelerator, right? Because the audience may be not aligned, and also then the pitch just comes so randomly because we have been working on mindset, maybe goal setting, and people were just expecting something from that direction, and then I threw something completely different at them. So always make sure that it's always directly tied to your offers. And it's almost like an entry-level point. So you give them so much value when they're like, oh, okay, like I can't even imagine how much transformation I will be seeing if I start working with this person inside of their paid offer, whether it's coaching, consulting, courses, whatever you have going on. It also delivers quick wins. We want people to feel like, okay, this time was really, really well spent, and I now trust this person and I trust their frameworks and I really like the way they teach and I really resonate with their perspective. Also, you should feel like a taste of what is it like to working with you. And the way I like to look at this is if you are a one-on-one coach and maybe you do a lot of your coaching inside of Voxer and it's all very conversation based, right? Like you know that you are the best at coaching in that kind of container, then don't run an email challenge because you are not able to showcase what is it like to be working with you and what are you really, really good at. Always, always, always play on your strengths. And then always a good event has a clear next step. So people always know what is the action they should be taking next, right? Ideally, it's enrolling into one of your paid programs. But let's be honest, not everyone always will. But then what is going to be happening next? Are there any other things for them to get involved in? Or are you doing these on a monthly basis so you can just continue nurturing your audience? And I have run these for, I probably said this already, but I have run these for a couple of years now. And we are now starting to see the compound effect of these, where people have been coming to our workshops for months, if not years, and now we work together on like a really big project. And maybe they weren't ready before, but they are ready now. So I don't think any time you are spending to nurture your community and to really pour into your community is a wasted time. And hopefully you will see a lot of results quickly, but you will start seeing the compound effect of you showing up over and over and over again as well. So I'm a huge fan of nurturing our community, of the platforms. We mostly use Instagram and TikTok and any of the short form media to really grow our newsletter. And then once people are in our newsletter, then we can triage them into challenges, workshops, anything we have going on. So let's see how we're doing on time. I think I did just 30 minutes. I was so worried that I was going to take so much longer.
No, it was amazing. Thank you so much, Alex. We have just a few minutes for Q&A as we have Michael and Tristan coming here at the top of the hour, but fantastic. I wrote in the chat that this was like a branding content masterclass. I love how you broke everything down. Loads of questions. We will not have time to answer all of them, but please go follow Alex on Instagram. Like both of her businesses here. She has also just launched an exciting new tech project as well called Self-Made, and just truly like love your story arc. And if you have specific questions, go take advantage of all of her free resources, everything that she shared. With that, there were some questions around the cadence for different types of content. So between distributing nurture content and visibility content, like attracting content, how do you decide the cadence? Are you saying I'm going to post 2 visibility focused pieces this week and 2, how do you break down the difference in the cadence between the 2?
It really depends on the current goals, right? If I see like, okay, our growth has stalled and we haven't really gained any new followers in the last month, and I just feel like I'm constantly talking to the new people, I turn up the dial on visibility content. And because I have been doing this for so long, I kind of know what resonates with people, and I have like few wild cards in my back pocket when I know that it's going to get a lot of visibility. You can also do the same. Pay attention to other content that's performing well in your space. There is a clue in it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Things that are working well for other people are also going to very likely be working well for you. I'm absolutely not saying copy anyone's content, but see what kind of formats, see what kind of hooks, see what kind of topics perform really, really well. So if I need to turn up dial on visibility, I would maybe do like 4 pieces of visibility content and then 2 pieces of nurture content a week. If I feel like, okay, maybe we have like few posts in the background going viral and the engagement isn't great, right? Like I just feel like we have a lot of new people, but no one is really paying attention to what we are doing. Because sometimes you see like accounts having hundreds of thousands of followers and no one really cares. Then I turn up the dial on nurture content and I really go deep with my audience. For someone who's like just in a maintenance mode, I would say do like 2 visibility pieces of content and do then 3 nurture pieces of content. Sometimes with visibility content, it also gauges traction for a lot longer than just the week. If you have a post going viral, if any of you had this experience, and I'm not saying viral like million views, but maybe it has 10 times more views than you usually get. It tends to happen over a couple of weeks. Sometimes it can even start as a slow burn, and then you look at analytics 2 months later and you're like, oh wow, okay, this actually reached a lot of people. So if it's working, you can just let it work in the background and you can focus on nurture content. And then, as I said, we don't really do a ton of conversion content on our feed. We do it off the platforms, but if you were to do, I don't know, like customer testimonials and talking about your product and the transformation and the features, now maybe do that once a week as well. You're on mute. You're on mute, Alexis.
Sick. It's like my first time doing this.
What did this happen? When this happened?
No, that was such a good answer. I have one more question that we have time for. And while you answer it, I'm actually going to bring Tristan and Michael to stage, who you also know. So then as you're answering, they can come to stage. So kind of a combination question for Lexi and Jasmine. Do you host your free and paid communities on the same platform? And how do you differentiate between a free community and a paid community?
I do host them both in the same community. Shout out to Circle. I love using Circle. It's so good in terms of like webinars as well and live streams. It has been such a lifesaver for me not having to have like 17 different platforms open up. So I have a free community where I don't tend to do a lot. It's more for people to talk to each other. I almost use it as my broadcast. So if we have anything cool going on, because we do so many workshops and so many challenges, I don't want to overwhelm the free community. So it's more there for them and then for me to be able to invite them to these workshops and always have access to them. Because if I just post it on the stories, who knows if someone is going to see it, right? But if I broadcast it into my free Circle community, I know that everyone will get the notification, and whether they act on it or not, like that's a different story. But I can be sure that they're going to see it. And then I also have a call to action in my free community to come and join my paid community if they would like to do X, Y, and Z, and if they want to get access to these resources. We pitch it there quite often as well. And then a paid community is just made private. And if someone purchases our paid community, then they just get access to it as well. And then they can fluctuate between free and paid based on whether their subscription is on or whether it's off. But that has been working really, really beautifully. But again, I don't do a ton in the free community. I know other creators have a different approaches. Maybe they don't do a lot of workshops or a lot of challenges, and they are doing a lot of, I don't know, voice notes in a community, and a lot of prompts in a community, and a lot of like showing up there to nurture their audience. But we just do the free community, and then paid community. That's like more of a courses, frameworks, tools, resources, and everything that we want our paid users to have access to.
While they're making their way to stage, another question around like your challenges, because I know that you're you love hosting challenges, and you mentioned that you run them about monthly. Are those all social media challenges, or are you bringing them into the free community? Like, what does that process look like?
I like to bring people into the free community. I tend to do competitions for our challenges. So I always like to end the challenge day with a bit of action they need to take. So for example, we have just run a personal brand glow up challenge, and first day I made them write the statement about the personal brand like we did in the first part of our presentation. And then second day, just an idea they have for content. And if they are participating, and this obviously increases engagement, but also helps people get the transformation, then we do a bit of a giveaway for everyone who has participated, and maybe we do like a private strategy call. But that has been really, really helpful, and that obviously also motivates people who might not be engaging with the challenge so much, because we all have had workshops or challenges where people signed up and then no one was really doing anything. And I don't think there's anything more frustrating as a creator when you put a lot of work, but then you just can't get people to engage. And that has been working really, really well. So having a place where people can communicate, where people can share ideas and cheer on each other has been so helpful in terms of our engagement, but then also conversions, because people are actually doing the work and they can see the micro transformations as they are going.
I love that. I love the focus on actually helping them with transformation. And you're right, there is nothing worse than launching something where you're in a challenge and there's crickets. So thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to Alex in the chat. Thank you so much for being here.
And feel free to slide into our DMs if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thanks, Alex, for having me.